So, state your name and, well, you work for yourself, right?
That's right. My name's Scott Davis. I work for myself. My company's Ignition Point Solutions. But I run the Silverlight user group. That's probably, I'd rather plug that. Twin City Silverlight user group. TCslug.com.
The slug, yeah, the slug little...
Yeah, well, let me get the slug.
Okay.
Here.
Do you have a sticker or do you actually have like a stuffed animal?
No.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Our logo.
Very nice. You should actually get like little stuffed animals.
The slug stuffed animals as a giveaway. That would probably draw a lot of attendance to the user group.
It would. Does it have a name?
The Sluggy.
Sluggy.
Yeah,
okay.
Sluggy.
Very creative.
That's right.
So did you do just one talk or two?
I just did one this time. Yep.
Okay. And what was that on?
Silverlight RIA Services, kind of an intro 101 for RIA Services in Silverlight, talking about the data grid and the data form.
Okay. So what's so great about a data grid? Well, what's so awesome about it?
The cool thing about, and what I tried to demo, we did really high level stuff, very deep. But the entire demo I did showed connecting to a database, RIA services, data grid. We showed how when you select a row in the data grid, we can drop down and show details in the grid underneath that form as an item detail. Then beside the grid, we showed a data form that allowed you to edit the details that were in the grid and save that back to the database. We also had validation on the fields, required fields, can't be longer than 15 characters validation, some custom validation. We did all of that without writing any code in the Silverlight project. It was all markup, binding, and RIA services.
Cool.
Now, I'm not saying the right thing to do is to write apps with no code. I'm not a no code advocate. I think that you have to.
You're not checkbox development.
But what I'm trying to show here is that that RIA services and Silverlight are making a tremendous amount of functionality for the line of business developer. A lot of people think that Silverlight, that's all media and video, right? I don't care about that. I watch Sunday Night Football on TV, not on the internet, and I don't do that. My bank doesn't want me doing videos in my apps. That's not the point. The point is with Silverlight is you get a tremendous amount of functionality for line of business apps, and while there isn't any code for what I showed, the point is not to say that we don't write apps. We stopped writing code for our apps. The point is that all that redundant stuff, that copy paste that we do all the time, say, now this is a required field, now this is a required field, and all that validation stuff is now handled through data annotations and part of the RIA services. And so that was a real value of what we were trying to demonstrate today with our session.
And I mean, my opinion too is that even if you're doing like HTML or XAML or stuff like that, people don't consider that to be code, but there's still something going on there too. You still have to, I mean, if you screw it up, you're definitely going to notice.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, when we say code, I'm talking about C#, VB.NET.
Right.
There's still the XAML markup that you have to do, but even then, the tooling is so good now that it makes a lot of times you can get it to make the connections for you and validate that you've set it up the right way.
Yep.
And even when you do it by hand, which is often the way that I do it, it really doesn't take a whole lot to connect the dots.
Yeah, it was funny when you said in your talk that you still do it by hand, and I still, myself, even with 2010, I still find doing it by hand is so much quicker. So.
Yeah, it is. It depends on what you're doing. Now, obviously, in Silverlight, we're talking a lot about storyboarding and animations and styling, and those things are never going to be quicker by hand, in my opinion. But when you're just doing a basic layout and you're setting up columns and rows, I too find that it's so much easier just to do it by hand, so that you get your auto sizing and your expansion. You take whatever's left sizing, set up exactly the way you want. Because in the end, a lot of times, even if you do it in Blend, you end up going to the XAML and double checking everything anyway. And it's not that hard to just write it. Yeah.
And you actually helped out a little bit with Andy and his. I finally figured out how you say it. It's Qonqr. I didn't realize.
Qonqr.com.
So, and you call it basically Foursquare meets Risk.
Yeah, well, you can call it that.
I know. Now you have to be a little careful on how you're marketing it.
I'm not going to use the trademark names, but yeah, it's a location-aware game where you go with your mobile phone, and right now we have a web MVC application that works on Android, iPhone, and we've tested it on the WinPhone 7 as well. And if you're using Firefox and maybe even Chrome in your laptop, those are geo-aware as well if you're connected to an ISP that has a lat long. And so the game right now is a web-based game to go out and sign up and register and deploy your bots. Now, there's a second piece of that, which is, and that's intended to really be run from a mobile device. The second piece of that is the map. The map is Silverlight. It's not going to run any mobile devices right now, unfortunately, but it's where we got in basically 48 hours. and for startup weekend. And so the map is a Silverlight app, so you can figure out where do I want to go. You can drive there and you can deploy your bots. We also are very close to having a release for the WinPhone 7. We're going to be in the marketplace early, and that will be everything in one because it is Silverlight. So we'll be able to sign up, register, deploy, and see the map all through the WinPhone 7. And then we're going to get out in the marketplace with that, and then we'll have an iPhone and Android native app that has the mapping and the deployment integrated. But that's not as easy as what we've got right now, getting it to WinPhone 7. So that's where we're going first.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.